नमस्कार जय जगन्नाथ। तो आज आम मैंने आरंभ करिया जाऊे यूएस इलेक्शन विषय डिस्कशन। तो आम पाखे आज गेस्ट अच्छा दी जन न्यूक्लियर साइंटिस्ट, जन है अमेरिकन और जन है इंडियन। तो आम डिस्कशन शुणा भितर कौन कौन से मैंने एक्सपेक्ट कर इलेक्शन को लेकिन अमेरिकन इलेक्शन को लेकिन अमेरिकार जो इलेक्शन होची ताको लेकिन कौन कौन डिस्कस कर कौन कौन क्वेश्चन रही कौन कौन आमको क्लीयर होवार अच्छी। तो चलतु आम जा स्ट्रेट पाखक आउ डिस्कशन शुणिया। तो आम जाऊे आज गोटे इनफॉर्मल डिस्कशन ओवर कॉफी करिया को जाऊे बेन संगे। तो आम संगे अच्छा बेन। बेन, कैन यू टेल अस अबाउट योरसेल्फ? Can you introduce?
Well, first thing I'd like to say is there's no coffee, and second thing I'd like to say is my name is Ben, and I work with Arabinda, go to school together. Yeah. So, and we're here on Long Island in New York.
Yeah. So you work in nuclear physics, right?
Yeah, we work in the.
तो अपन मैंने देखले हमर फर्स्ट चीफ गेस्ट जे की अछंती बेन। तो हमें भी जिबा अरविंद को पाखो को आउ
जगन्नाथ मु अरविंद आउ आज आम संगे अछंती मोर आम रिसर्च ग्रुप रो संग बेंजामिन बेन। आउ आज आम तांग संगे कथा हबा टिके अमेरिकन एना हॉट टॉपिक चलची अमेरिकन इलेक्शन काउंटिंग चलची एबे जांगे रिजल्ट डिक्लेयर हेनी। तो आमे डिस्कस करिया कोन कोन अलगा अलगा सिनेरियो कोन कोन ही पारिबो। Yeah, so Ben, yeah, I want to ask you like the election competition is going so neck to neck.
But
so what can happen if suppose nobody gets a majority? What will happen?
Election? Was there an election? I got to vote.
You forgot to vote?
No, of course. How could anyone forget about the election? I mean, it is dominating the news cycle so intensely. You said it's not only Americans are obsessing over this election, but also people in India too.
Yeah.
It's
All
wild.
channels are covering US elections.
It's wild for sure. Yeah, I mean everyone voted this year. Really, really high voter turnout. I don't know the numbers, but I bet it will be a record year for sure. This year was a big deal because we had a president who was, you either loved him or you hated him. There's no in between. You had a crazy year with 2020, virus, pandemic, all sorts of wild stuff happened. A lot of protests. I mean, this was definitely the craziest election the US has ever had. So, yeah.
So the majority you need is 270, right? What will happen if nobody
Yeah, so
gets
the way that election actually works in the US is really complicated. Every other country in the world, it's very simple. One person, one vote. Not the case in the US. In the US, you have something called the Electoral College, and each state participates. So, you have to, each state's worth some points. And the first person to get 270 points, which is awarded from the individual states, wins.
By points, you mean number of representative seats or?
No, literally just points. It has nothing to do with representatives. It has nothing to do with anything. It only decides who the president is. The big difference between the U.S. and India for sure in terms of elections is in India you pick a local representative who then picks someone in parliament, and then that decides the prime minister. In the U.S. you vote directly for the president, and we have a very complicated system of doing that. Edit whatever you want.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what happens if nobody gets a majority, the 270 mark? Both of them fail to do that.
Honestly, nobody knows.
Is there, like in India, if nobody gets a majority, then there is a coalition government? So if some members are from one party, others are other parties.
It's never happened here.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's always a clear majority.
After a while, yes. It can take a while though.
So do you think even if there will be a majority and the president don't wants to leave?
If he loses and he doesn't,
yeah.
There is
If he
some
lose-
news that he can lose and he doesn't concede his.
That's another thing that is really new. Yeah, maybe Trump will not leave. What happens then? I don't know. Stay tuned to find out.
But there are chances that he will not leave.
We've never had this problem before. Every president they ask, if you lose the election, Will you leave? Will you concede defeat? They always say yes. You know, if we lose, we'll go home. But this year he said maybe not.
Yeah.
So we'll find out.
क्लियर कर देबा को चाहूँ एटी तंकर अच्छी कि प्रेसिडेंट चाहिए से सीट छाड़िबे नहले से छाड़िबेनी इवन दो से लूज करचंदी जद से चाहिए वोट काउंटिंग भी बंद हो अधारू नहले जद से चाहिए से टोटली सीट छाड़िबेनी तापर कौन डिसाइड हम देखा हम एबे जाके सही प्रॉब्लम केबे भी आसनथला किंतु एबे जेहेतु ट्रम्प अच्छा ट्रम्प किसी भी कर तो किसी भी पारे तो हमको वेट करिया पड़ो देखिया पड़ो कौन होची
Okay, so like on the election, people are voting for the president. Is it similar to also you are voting for the vice president, or is it like you have to vote for the president? So are the vice president candidates Kamala Harris and Mike Pence also do you need to vote for them, or?
Yeah, you actually just vote for the president, and he or she chooses the vice president.
Okay, there is no separate.
Yeah, there's
poll
no
for
separate.
them.
You only elect the president. Yeah.
And that is fixed. If that person wins, the president wins, he will select only that person as vice president, or they can pick others also.
Yeah, they always pick the person they've said. I guess.
like being an Indian we are more interested in Kamala Harris so I am asking if
Joe Biden wins.
Yeah.
Will he,
Wow. So what makes you interested in Kamala Harris?
because she has Indian origins, right?
yeah
I guess it's true. She does. Yeah.
Her mother is Indian, father is I think American.
Yeah. Yeah.
So people are
People are
like
excited
hopeful
about
we
that.
are
like
hopeful
people from the village of Kamala Harris ancestors or her mother's village, they are praying for her win.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I honestly don't know too much about her except that she was a head prosecutor in California, and I know a lot of the laws she sponsored or fought against. Kind of back then, I know some like famous cases she tried, but that's about all I know. Yeah, she's yeah.
And like in news we see that like people always call this red states, blue state, and some hung states. So why is that? Can all the states are not, like in the beginning, are not all the states hung states?
Yeah, so each state has its own election, and then whoever wins that election, all the votes go to the winner of the state election. So the states are all separate. They all decide which presidential candidate to vote for, and some states are extremely conservative, some states are liberal, some are in between.
So like if you pick a red state, so people there still can vote for the Democrat Party.
Yeah, we call it a red state because the vast majority of people will vote for the conservative party, and usually it's such an overwhelming majority that it's never
Okay, it's
very
like
close.
history. People from that state.
Yeah, always votes the same way. Of course, some people will vote differently, but the majority will
And
vote.
some states are called hung states.
Yeah, in these states, then there's similar populations of conservative and liberal people, or Democrats and Republicans, and these are the states that matter the most, because they're the ones who aren't sure who they'll vote for. For example, California always votes for Democrats. Texas always votes for Republicans. There's
From several years,
many,
never changed.
Yeah, it's never changed.
That's strange.
okay
Yeah, yeah.
Because in India, every state, okay, I don't think there is any state where there is only one party from the beginning.
Yeah, I mean,
Parties come and lose.
we just have two parties, and they've existed for so long.
Oh, they are like strongholds.
Yes. I mean, many generations. Yeah.
Whom did you vote this time? And were you happy with the choices that were given?
So I voted for Joe Biden, and I think he's not perfect, but he's pretty good. So
It's
Yeah,
better.
satisfactory for sure. Compared to Donald Trump, for example, if I had to have one of them as my direct boss, as my advisor, as someone I had to work under, I think I would definitely prefer to work under Joe Biden than I would as Donald Trump. I think Donald Trump is a bad boss, so then why would I want him the boss of my country? Yeah.
And is Joe Biden better than Bernie Sanders, like from whom he won?
I honestly don't know. I think in this case he is the better candidate because he got more votes. So
Yeah.
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 Like he won within the party.
Yeah, he won within the party, and it looks like he might win the national election. So that means he was definitely the right candidate for the job.
And also, like yesterday, I saw in the news that like Joe Biden already had created the record for most number of votes. So before it was like 69 million by Barack Obama. Last time Trump got like 67 million votes, and I think Joe Biden has crossed Obama, got more votes than Obama.
Yeah. I mean, that's just because everyone voted this election.
Yeah.
Everyone. I mean,
Why do you think so? Why the turnout is so large this time?
It's just an intense year. I mean, Trump, like I said, people either really, really love him or they really, really hate him. There's no in between. Also, the pandemic. Also, just politics in general, not just in the U.S., but all countries, is becoming very, very heated. And people want to be heard. They want to know that they have some power, so they vote.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's yeah. The voting was crazy here.
So, any specific like plan or proposition you liked from Joe Biden, from his like election campaign?
I think there's a lot of things he touched on. I think one thing that is definitely in his power and is easy to do and is really relevant is that he'll be able to do some basic immigration reform. I think one of the biggest things is just to kind of go back to an earlier sort of visa system where it was just, more straightforward, more streamlined.
That means you think it will improve the international relation?
Definitely. I mean, I think America is a country made of immigrants. Kamala Harris is, I guess, from immigrants. I mean, even I guess one day was from immigrants. So I think it's an important thing for this country to let people move here.
And one point which was raised in the debate was like under Trump administration, the US pulled out of the Paris Accord for environmental.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, I mean that's terrible. Also, hopefully, I mean at some point we'll need to really take care of this environment. At some point we will make the Earth a lot more painful to live in. Not sure.
We already see so many changes now. Now in any shopping center you cannot find any plastic bags, right?
It's a start. It's a start. And the environment is definitely a long-term priority. It can't be ignored forever.
तो अपन तो देखिले बहुत क्वेश्चन आमको बेन आंसर दे सारे तो आम आम लास्ट क्वेश्चन आड़ को मूव करिया ऑलरेडी 15 मिनिट्स ହେଇଗଲାଣି हमने डिस्कस करछे तो आम लास्ट क्वेश्चन को मूव करिया और हमर मोस्ट इंपोर्टेंट क्वेश्चन है अरविंद पचारिबे बेन को हमें सुनिबा
So Ben, so who do you think whose winning is more beneficial to India, like Donald Trump's or Joe Biden's?
Well, I think if you live in India and you plan on staying there, it doesn't matter at all. I think if you are an Indian living in the United States and you're looking to stay here, I think you would really want Joe Biden to win because I think he'll ease up on some of the more recent restrictions that have been placed on H-1B visas and other types of work visas.
Yeah. तो देखिले बेन करो कौन कहबार थिला तो बेन चाहते बिडेन आसतु किंतु एबे तो टाइम ही कहबो कौन होची कौन नहीं तो से भी एक्सपेक्ट करचंती कि बिडेन आसले आम रिलेशनशिप चेंज हम कहीं ना वीजार किसी से माने आमर आगर भाया जमती थिला वीजा सेमती सब रूल्स हो बट एबे तो अपन सिचुएशन जानुचंदी केही भी कहि पारनांती कौन हबो कौन नहीं जहाँ हम लास्ट मोमेंट रे ही जाना पड़िबो सब वोट काउंटिंग सरला परे आउट ऑफ का डिसीजन ऊपर मेनली डिपेंड करे तो आमे माने बस वेट करिया देखिबा कौन होची तापरे हम जाके किसी कंक्लूजन को पहुंच परिबा ए सिचुएशन रे केही भी जाननांती कौन हबो कौन नहीं